My name is Anthony DeRose. I am the chairman of the Rhode Island Democratic Party's LGBT caucus, but tonight I am here as a member of the Young Democrats of Rhode Island and its LGBT caucus. I certainly would like to thank you for the opportunity to submit some testimony on this bill. The Young Democrats believe that this bill is unnecessary and has unintended consequences that fail to address the bill's intent of spreading the transmission of the HIV virus to another person. I will again like to begin to point out that to the committee that there is currently no data that shows any difference in behavior between places that criminalize HIV transmission and places that do not. In 2007, there was a study that was conducted that interviewed almost 500 people in the cities of New York and Chicago, which showed that people who lived in a state with a criminal law that specifically regulated sexual behavior of HIV-infected people were not very different in their self-reported sexual behavior from people in a state without a law. Also, people who believe that it is wrong to expose others to HIV and right to disclose the infection to their partners, but were not influenced by the respondents' beliefs in the law criminalizing HIV transmission, or whether they lived in a state that had such a law or not. It should be noted that most HIV transmission takes place between two adults who have consensual sex, neither of whom knows that the other has HIV. Another study looked at two different groups that were aware and unaware that they were infected with HIV. The results show that their their transmission rate from the unaware group was 3.5 times that of the aware group, adjusting for the population size differences between the two groups. Furthermore, the U.S. Conference of Mayors in 2013 passed a resolution that argued that many state HIV-specific criminal laws reflect long and outdated misconceptions of HIV and risk of transmission, and called for the elimination of HIV-specific criminal laws. HIV transmission criminal laws have been unjustly used in the United States to prosecute and disproportionately sentence people with HIV. These laws do not consider correct and consistent conduits and effective antiretroviral therapy that reduces the risk of HIV transmission to near zero as evidence of a lack of intent or ability to harm. Additionally, behaviors such as spitting and biting, which according to the CDC have negligible risk of transmitting HIV, have resulted in sentences as long as 35 years. The Young Democrats of Rhode Island is concerned that this bill will conflict with current laws and that this issue should be treated as a public health issue and not a criminal justice issue. First-degree sexual assault, which is already a crime punishable by 10 years to up to life in prison here in Rhode Island, and accounts for the language in House Bill 5245, 11-69 1.4, forcibly engage in sexual vaginal, anal, or oral without the consent of the other person, including one's legal spouse. These existing laws and processes are already in place, and a sentencing judge would already be able to take it into account as a factor in sentencing. Additionally, we feel that this bill will discourage HIV testing. Ignorance of one's status may be perceived as the best defense in a criminal lawsuit. Moreover, this may create distrust in relationships between health service professionals and impede quality care, as people who are HIV positive may fear information will be used against them in a criminal case. Finally, we feel that in order to truly address HIV transmission, we should expand access to proven HIV prevention programs and support voluntary counseling and testing for couples, as well as ethical partner notification. And just to sum up, again, with the stigma that Representative Almeida met, it is true. For so many years, we've had healthcare professionals with newly diagnosed HIV patients to let them know that this was not a life sentence, that they would lead a normal life. And putting something like this onto the books now erases all that and makes someone who is newly diagnosed live in fear. That if they are with someone and there is something that happens, that they could go to jail. This is not the right thing to do, and this is not the way that we should be moving our state. So with that, I certainly thank you for the opportunity to testify on behalf of this.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for you?